the black man.
There you go.
I was getting it confused with Don't Trust Whitey, which that should be on the dollar.
Yeah. But I mean, to think that, they're totally supportive of this guy, whatever, I don't care. They now want to, give drug testing to people on welfare now. I mean that's pushed by Trump,
which they've done in several states, and it has always turned out to be, you find, I think
a 1%er.
In one of the study that had the most positives, or drug positives, not positives to the study, but I think it was still under 2% of the people tested positive for drugs, and the expense to the program was enormous. It was the diametric opposite of cost effective.
Well, I mean, you're sitting there looking at, there are more white folks on drugs than there are blacks. There are more white folks on welfare than there are black people.
Yeah, but it's hard to make that point when you've got more black people in jail.
Right.
It's... I'm
right,
saying you are factually right.
Right.
But
and also when
you look at something to prove their point of, well, that can't possibly be true because then the jails would be full of white people.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
it's not how it works.
No. So when you see this, you go to yourself and say, well, hey, that they, that the drug testing and all, where all the money is wasted. But then again, is it, or is that the way they want it? It's kind of like it costs you $75,000 to house a person in a prison a year, one person in prison, whereas that $75,000 could be sent for sending that guy to school and educate him. Okay,
you could drop a couple million on a military parade for an orange president, or you could put that money into the VA and actually taking care of the people that could be benefited much more by proper care and expanded system than they ever would be benefited by a parade.
Right. I mean, when you look at our homeless situation that we have, and that is growing out of control. When we created we opened up all the mental institutions and because you felt that their mentally ill people were able to make their own decisions, and the only time that you will lock them up is if they can't if they're a harm to themselves. Well, how do you know? So we just had, you got guys roaming the street. Guy just got stabbed in his car or on a bus.
Oh, the guy it was in a restaurant, in a steakhouse.
Yeah,
you're talking on the west side with
the guy just walked up to him and stabbed him in the neck.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy ran out. Okay, dude's clearly mentally ill. He's probably have. If you check his file, like at my job, we have a file. When we see kids who have 2 and 3 volumes, and I always tell the kids, you know what? Well, sir, eventually they're going to set me free. Oh no, bro! I saw your 3 volumes of file. They're not. They don't want to deal with you, okay? Because you've shown that if I let you out, you will be back. So you might as well stay. I'd love to see you gone, but you have proven to me you should not be free because by the way you act. And as you get older, it gets worse. So I'm not going to put you not going to be accepted in a juvie anymore. Now you're ready for prison because that's what you've known. And you won't take your medication. The fact that you have to tell you to take medication, and and I have to tell the I don't know if you've ever sat with a 17-year-old who's got some type of he's ADD, ADHD, or whatever, and he's can't sit still.
Not since I was in high school.
Right. Well, these guys ask for lotion, and the reason why they ask for lotion is so they can sit in what they and I don't know why. Staff don't care, especially the female staff. And they will sit there and stroke their dick right in front of her, jacking off in front, and they don't even see it. And I have to tell them, I was like, dude, take your hands out of your pants. And they go, oh, you caught that, huh? Yeah, you fucking prick. Yeah, I caught it. And, because that's what they're doing. and no one pays attention. And yet you're saying to me that I have to drug test a person just so he can get a little money for some food? Because you think he's going to go buy drugs? Hell, you got guys that go to work every day. Of course they're going to buy drugs. Everybody's buying drugs. They're not the only one. Our economy runs on consumerism. You must spend. Okay? So they're going to buy a little food and they're going to buy some booze. The same way the fucker who's out there going to work every day, he's going to buy food, he's going to buy booze, he's going to buy drugs. Everybody's doing it. Well, I don't want them doing it on my dime. Well, okay. Somebody's going to pay for it. Who's paying for the trains? You're already paying for the freeways. Those are federal fucking freeways. You're paying for them. They take federal taxes and state taxes out of our thing. You're paying no matter what.
Spite?
I don't have any kids. I don't want to pay no high school tax. You're going to get taxed.
Well, I used to feel similarly that, I don't have kids. Why would I vote for an increase in taxes to go to the schools? And that line of thought lasted about, a week until I realized, when I was walking down the street and saw a bunch of idiot kids, it's like, oh, you pay higher taxes to go to the school system so that the kids who are wandering down the street aren't idiots.
Well, you're already paying for a criminal to have a swimming pool at juvie. Okay? So murderers are allowed to swim.
Or a soundproof phone booth at the EPA or a dining room set at the Housing and Urban Development Department.
Some dickhead decided to take 31 grand.
Your tax dollars are going to plenty of criminals.
Hell yeah. And you're pissed at the school system when you got a dude who went out and bought new dishes for his wife or spent new furniture for $31,000? But you're worried that you want to drug test some asshole who, well, I don't know if he's an asshole, but he's, some welfare dude who's, barely
who could be an asshole.
Who could be.
They're not all angels.
But you got a dude who you put in office who is fucking you in your face. This dude is literally telling you, I'm going to fuck you over.
And I think it's even scarier that these people are not on drugs.
Yes. These guys are sober. They're not doing any drugs.
I wish they were. A lot of their behavior would be explained so much more easily if, you know what they're on. Okay.
Yeah. They're buying pussy. They're going out and buying hookers on your tax dollar.
Or with campaign funds.
Yeah. Or taking his wife to France and spending over $100,000 on a fucking trip. But yet you're fucking with the guy who's on welfare? That little measly $500 or whatever he's getting, that shit is like $1.50. That's not going to help them. But it's enough to get them by. That dude I'm not worried about. I'm worried about that dude who I put in office who could really screw some shit up. That's who I'm bothered by. Not worried about this guy that who's sleeping in a fucking tent. You ever drive down our streets? These guys got tents everywhere. And I'm like, hello? You created this shit. You created it because you didn't give a shit about the average American. You kept saying, well, if we get this guy to give him all these tax incentives, he's going to find jobs for everybody. Oh, really? Yeah. Is that the reason why guys will not take piss breaks at fucking Amazon? They're pissing in jugs and shit. Because if they don't keep up, they'll fire them for $12 an hour. No. You can't sell me on that. I mean, if people out there don't understand the game, you better find a way to you got to really learn how to survive in our society today. And that's why they tell us our medical, we pay as much money as people pay for their medical. We have the worst medical in the country, in the world actually. Our medical departments are worse than most other countries, and we have a very high.
Well, first world countries.
First world countries, yeah. Okay, and we pay out the ass. They do not want you to have. I talk to people at my job. I don't care if they're black or white. They do not believe in free medical at all. They don't believe in free education, even though they don't want it. They're not going to get educated. They don't believe the education should be free. I don't understand that. You're lucky they're not charging you to go to the library. The library is the freest education you will ever get.
Yep.
That's the only thing that's free.
And there are plenty of benefits. A little plug for the LA Public Library system here, because if you don't have a library card, you should definitely get one. With that, you get access to, there's like a whole online component.
Right.
Books, movies, music. You get with the LA Public Library, you get a free subscription to the New York Times website. Right. So, right there, you're saving yourself a bunch of money. You're getting quality journalism, and you can read firsthand what the president is bitching about and whining about.
Right. I am constantly blown away when people question you about reading a book. Dude, you're reading? Yeah. They even put commercials out to tell you to read to your children, to get your kids to read fucking books, but you'd rather them sit up and have, or people have this thing that we have called a cell phone, which is a mini computer, and they do not use. I have a friend who's, he's taking 4 or 5 medications. He's never taken the time to look up the medications on his phone and see what the side effects are. He said, "You can do that?" Yeah, jackass.
I think we've just discovered one of the side effects.
Yeah. And it's just pure laziness.
No, but it's funny. So many conversations at parties, talking about movies or music. Wait, who was in that movie again? I don't know. I got it. I got my iPhone, and then you don't pull the iPhone out. That is basically the conversational technological equivalent of everything happens for a reason. It's like, yeah, that's how cause and effect works. Now, if you want to find out what the reason is, maybe that will lead to better effects in the future. So it's to just say, oh yeah, I can look that up. That's great, but you're not going to figure out what the answer is unless you actually do look it up. And yeah, you see a lot of the older folks. Oh, everyone's on their phones all the time. And granted, yeah, there are a lot of people playing Candy Crush or hunting Pokemon or whatever. But I know, 9 out of 10 times when I'm staring at my phone in public, I'm reading the news.
Right.
So it's one of those things. There was a meme going around a few years ago where someone was complaining about like all the kids being on their phones, and there was a picture of a bunch of kids like at a Starbucks or something, and everyone's head was buried in their phone, and it's like, we didn't have this back in my day. And then that was followed by a picture from the 1940s of all the businessmen commuting to work on a train, everybody reading the newspaper.
Right.
And it's like, it could be the same thing. It's just some of these guys are reading, the hard news. Some are meandering in sports and lifestyle. Same thing with the phones.
I have, and that's the reason why, when I have been at work, and I've, as I said, the guy gets on Facebook, hasn't been on Facebook, and sees a picture of a guy of a friend's daughter, and then posts something stupid. And these are the people that I said, you haven't been on. Said, no, I haven't been on. You shouldn't, because if you don't know that when you see something that you should not say something, then don't. If you see something and you can't say anything appropriate, then don't say anything.
Well, and I think that kind of ties us back into your earlier question of what is presidential? What does it mean to be presidential? There's, there are a lot of people on the right who like to bitch and moan about political correctness. And while there are some things that have gone a little over the top, a little too far with the political correctness, what these people who are complaining about it fail to understand is that there is a line between quote unquote political correctness and tact.
Right.
It's great that you feel you're making great strides for human progress and First Amendment rights by screaming racial epithets out of a car window as you drive past some member of a minority who's walking down the street. that may be the way you see it.